Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa. Today I'm going to be starting a video series, a start to finish journal that I will be creating for spring floral planting. My husband and I love to plant flowers in the spring, so I've decided to make a journal out of that. I found a really cute digital from My Porch Prints that I have printed out a couple onto some sheets of regular cardstock. I have, grab it here, I have an abundance of scrapbook paper that I have cut down from 12 by 12 sheets. I grabbed a whole bunch that were just textured, slight patterned, every color under the rainbow, to be able to use, since I don't actually do hardcover actual scrapbooking. If I do any, I'll do it online through an app or something. So I have just a ton of paper scrapbook stuff that I just don't use anymore. So I thought this is a great chance to use some of it up. So obviously 99% of my papers are white on the back, so I was able to put them through my printer and print some digitals on the other side. So, excuse me. So I did that with a whole bunch of different size, different papers that I'm gonna do a rainbow from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Somewhere in there is a blue and violet. So there's another digital that I'll end up with. So I'm going to, I might have to add another page or two inside of here after I got this all ready to go. But I have a good start on what I want to include into the journal. So this will be a later video when I create the final signatures. But today's video is where I'm going to take these fabric scraps. I will insert a video of where these came from. I created a quilt that I use myself. Nothing fancy, just some big squares. But these were the fabrics that I used for that quilt. So as you can see, I used, these were all the colors that I used in them, and this is what is left. What I'm going to use is this Peltex stabilizer. Basically, it is a thicker stabilizer. The one I picked is 72F, which is double-sided fusible stabilizer. This Peltex I got from Joann's. It does come in single-sided fusible and no fusible, where you can just sew through. It basically just, I'll go show you through. You just have to lightly press with an iron on it. And then after all it's ironed down, I will take a sewing machine and sew over it. And then when that's all said and done, on the other side, I'll have a solid fabric, because I don't have handy, that I'll be able to iron onto the back. And then I will sew around the four sides to make the journal. I'm not sure if I said it, but I cut this as 12 by 9 so that when I have the piece of paper, the signature in there, it is just slightly bigger than that when it gets folded over to make the journal. So obviously you can make this any size you want. The Peltex comes 20 inches wide, so I had bought a yard of it. So I can get 6 of these out of a yard, and they were currently 50% off, so it was $5.99 for a yard of this on sale at my local Joann's. So basically the sheet cost $1, which I think is not too bad for a journal cover. Now I know a lot of times you can get the free stuff, glue it, but I wanted to try this since I wanted to iron on these fabrics. So I'm going to go set these up at my ironing board and get the patchwork going. Okay, so I'm at the ironing board. I've got the Peltex ready to go. The instructions say to set it to wool, so I've got the iron set to a wool setting. And basically, all you need to do is find whatever scrap you want to add. Like say this one. I don't want to do big ones necessarily, I do small ones. So I'm just going to take some of these, give a little snip and rip them, get rid of the extra strings if I want to, and place them down. So I'm going to start, I'm also going to have them come up about 1/2 inch above, so that when I sew it, I have place to sew around it, and then be able to go back and trim it afterwards. So I'm going to lay a couple down, kind of like a collage masterboard, overlapping them, and that's where I will sew, probably zigzag when I get to it. And after I get a few down here, I will probably just do it that way. Go ahead and, let's see, teal blue. Go ahead and use the iron a bit just to get these down so they don't move. Now you want to make sure that you don't touch the iron to that, because that is glue and it's going to stick to your iron. So, all right, just temporarily get that on, and as you can see, it is stuck. I don't want to pull it too hard because it's still warm, so it could pull off just a little bit. So, all right, let's keep going. This is, let's see, I did some of that already. Got some of that green. Some of this darker green would be fun. Put that up here. Pink polka dots, you'd be fun there. All right, we got the teal up here. I know I have it down there, but I have to repeat at some point. I don't think I did this one yet. I'll make that a little smaller though. Or maybe I did. Actually, it's right there. Get rid of the excess strings. All right, is there something that I haven't used yet? I don't think I've used that yet. That's got a nice flower on it too, so let's get the flower. Since this is going to be a flower journal, yeah, let's put it there. Actually, I think I might want it there because that is going to be where the binding is. I don't care about that as much. That'll work. Okay, a little green down here maybe. Oh, I don't have any of this purple, do I? Oh, I need to get some of that purple in there. Okay, and one more down here, maybe that light green. All right. Okay, overhanging. All right, let's finish pressing this. Okay. Now it's not all going to be stuck down because obviously some of this is not touching the interfacing underneath, and that's where the stitching on top is going to come into play to get it all stitched down. So I'll just follow randomly all of the lines there to get it to be stitched down. Okay. All right. Okay, so there's the back side that I'll eventually put the, I have a piece of solid fabric that I'm going to use for that. I could go through and do the same thing here, and when I stitch the top, the lines where that's sewed would be there randomly. I could also do some bigger pieces if I wanted to, like put a pocket in there or something. So maybe we will do that because I have a lot of fabric left. Some bigger ones. Let's see what I got here. Well, that'd be kind of cute because that's opposite. Oh, I got orange in both corners. Okay. No problem. Oh, but if I do put the pocket there, I'm going to sew on top of it, which would not work. But I can still do the solid pieces that are big. Okay. Put the green on the top here. I've lost my scissors though. There they are. Okay. How about the darker green? With the darker green. It's just kind of skinny, but yeah, that'll work. I go to, yeah, all right. I've made the decision. No turning back now. Alright, so like I said, I'll see the stitching on the inside. But it'll be a design then on its own. The other solid fabric that I had that was kind of a rainbow kind of a look was a bit of a knit, so I had a bit of a stretch to it too, so I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work ironing on. So with the temperature setting, I think this is probably the best bet anyway. So, okay. All right, so I'm gonna just trim this bigger piece off here, as I know I don't need it anyway. And I'll sew across the top here, sew across the edges, and then I'll come back and make it look all nice and even. And then when we get to, after it's stitched and we get to fold it, we will have, that'll be the front, we will have a fun journal. Yeah. Cut that one away a little bit. I do like that flower. Since it is not. There. Yeah, much better. Okay. So that'll be the front of the journal, and that'll be the back. And we're all good. Okay. So I'm going to get my sewing machine out and going to stitch this next. Okay, I've got my sewing machine all set up and ready to go. I am going to use plain white thread for it. I'm sure people who actually quilt would have something better to use, but I think this is going to be fine for what it is. I think it'll give a little bit of a lightness to it. I've decided to do a zigzag. You can see the white thread doesn't show too much on it, so I think it'll be okay for that. All right, so I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to stitch a little bit down the first line show you that turn, and then I'm going to end up speeding up the video because it's going to take me a while to sew this whole thing, stops and starts probably, maybe a few cuss words in between, and I don't want to have to subject that to you. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Sorry about the machine, it'll probably be loud, but when I go to speed it up, it will be definitely more quiet. So, all right, so I'm going to start right before where the Peltex is, the thickness, so it is, the stitching is off of that, so that when I do the outside, I cross over and lock in the stitching that is on top of the squares. Get my threads in the back and drop the foot, and here goes nothing. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I slow that down a little bit. There we go. Make sure that I cross over both pieces of fabric so we lock it in, but mostly going on the side that is above it so it doesn't peel back. Okay, here we go again. All right, so when I get to the end here, I'm going to have to pivot and put my needle down and pivot and drop it, and I'll start the next side. All right, so I'm going to continue just going around all the squares here, but like I said, I will end up speeding this up so you don't have to watch it. So, okay. Okay, I think I've got all the seams covered. My tension was being a poopy head, to put it mildly. But I mean, it still sewed it together. Is it pretty? Eh. So I'm not sure why. I tried a couple different settings for the tension. Why it wasn't working properly. I'm not a huge sewer, so I usually do straight stitch too, so I don't know if it had something to do with the zigzag, something to do with the Peltex. Maybe I have an old needle. Not quite sure, but it definitely was being a little cattywog on me. So I think I might want to sew those together down there, but I think I'll sew that just because, you know, actually probably be in the spine. If I put a little glue on there, it'll be okay. If it pops up, I'll just put some fabric glue on there. Okay. Try to get some of these threads snipped off. Before I sew the outside and catch them in there. I mean, is it perfect? No. Will it do what I need it to do? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to sew the outside 4 sides, and I'll speed that up again. Hopefully the tension won't be as bad, being it's not through the Peltex, but we'll see. So here goes nothing, as they say. Okay, so I zigzagged around it, realized my zigzag was still being stupid, for not a better word, so I decided to straight stitch around it. So overall, the prettiest thing? No, but it's kind of shabby, and I like it. So I'm going to trim the edges after I sharpen my scissors. Right, we're going to pause that for a moment and find my scissor sharpener. Okay, found my scissor sharpener. If you do not have one of these, go buy one. They are the best investment you'll ever have. Instead of buying new scissors, sorry about the noise. But they are cheaper than buying a whole new pair of scissors. Look at that, much better. And if you're anything like me, you end up using your sewing scissors like these to cut the wrong things all the time. So they get a little bit dull from cutting paper or whatever. Then you just sharpen them for a few seconds and they are good to go. So the one that I have, that black one right there, is probably a good 20 years old, and I still sharpen stuff with it. So I think that I've seen newer ones recently. They're orange by Fiskars. It doesn't really matter what color they are. And I believe I have two of them somewhere too, because I thought I lost it and bought a new pair or a new set, and I did not want to be without them. So I got a second one running around somewhere. Okay. Might go back and trim a little bit more of these. A little bit drunk when I was cutting them. Probably a rotary cutter would work better with a straight edge, but you do what you have. Oh yeah, that looks much better now that I've trimmed that. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Get that out of the way a little bit. Okay. All right, so the back side, like I said, I'll just get a little fabric glue for these if they're lifting up after I end up binding them. I will probably put corners on these just to strengthen them a little bit, but overall I think it is going to be just perfect. Yeah, that'll be a nice size. A little bit bigger, that'll be a nice size. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to fold that, and beautiful. Okay. I think that might be enough for one video. I know I'm a bit spent, so hopefully it didn't go too long and you catch something out of it. Like I always say, I am new to this, so I am willing to make some mistakes so that hopefully you do not have to make the same mistakes, or I will not make the same mistakes the next time. So for now, this is going to be it for today, and I hope to see you in the next video, where we start creating some of the signatures and maybe do some binding, and we'll go from there. So once again, thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a creative day.